Chosen one. How many times have you forced yourself to fit into places that suffocated your spirit? How many times have you smiled politely, while deep inside a silent scream echoed, "I don't belong here. These are not my people. This is not my path." This isn't a coincidence. It isn't weakness. And it certainly isn't madness. It is the first sign that your soul has always carried a vibration this world cannot contain. The discomfort you felt all your life was never a curse. It was a compass. From the very beginning, you noticed it. Where others blended in, you stood out. Where others felt at home, you felt like a traveler passing through. While they lived content with shallow explanations, you carried questions that burned like fire in your chest. And no matter how much you tried to silence them, they always returned, stronger and clearer, reminding you that you are not like the rest. And here lies the truth. You are not 100% human. Your body may walk on Earth, but your essence comes from beyond it. You carry codes the world does not recognize, a signature from heaven itself imprinted on your very being. That is why your existence threatens a system that survives by keeping people asleep, obedient and the same. But you were never designed to be the same. You were designed to awaken, to confront, to illuminate. This is why your entire life felt like a contradiction. You longed to belong, but belonging always tasted like betrayal. You sought acceptance, but acceptance always cost your authenticity. Every time you tried to live like everyone else, following the rules, silencing your intuition, forcing yourself to smile, something inside you whispered relentlessly, "This isn't everything. This isn't who you are." And it was right, because you were never shaped by the surface of life. Your spirit was forged in eternity. Your soul was encoded with frequencies that disturb the sleepers because they awaken memories of what they chose to forget. That is why they judged you, resisted you, even feared you, not because of what you did, but because of what you carried. But now the time of silence is over. The moment of pretending is gone. You can no longer delay the truth that echoes within you. You were chosen to carry a mark, a mission, a light that cannot be dimmed. If you bear the mysterious letter M or the crescent moon in your hands, understand, those are not accidents of biology. They are portals, vibrational seals, maps left by the Creator to remind you who you are and why you came. They are the signature of your lineage, proof of a spiritual inheritance no system can erase. And this is why you are here, listening now. Because deep inside, you know the moment has come. The calling has reached you, the awakening is already underway, and from this point forward, you either align with your true origin, or you will continue to wander lost in realities that were never yours to begin with. So I ask you, chosen one, will you declare it openly? If this message is already burning in your soul, write in the comments, "I know who I am." That single sentence is not just text. It is a spiritual seal, a declaration to the universe that you refuse to hide any longer. And if you know this truth belongs to you, subscribe now and walk with others who, like you, are remembering what they carry. Here, you will not be asked to shrink. Here, your light will be honored. So take a deep breath. Be still within. Because what you are about to hear is not meant for the weak, nor for those who conform. It is meant for those who are ready to remember, for those who sense that the truth, burning inside them, is older than this world. For those who finally know, I was not made to fit in. I was made to awaken. From the very beginning of your life, something about you disturbed the atmosphere around you. It wasn't your words. It wasn't your behavior. It wasn't even the way you looked. It was simply your presence. While others blended into environments, with ease, you carried an energy that made people shift uncomfortably in their seats. Conversations would change when you walked into a room. Smiles would stiffen. For reasons no one could explain, your presence revealed truths others wanted to keep hidden. This is the paradox of the chosen ones. Even in silence, you speak. Even without intention, you expose. You are not just a person among many. You are a mirror. And what mirrors do is reveal not only beauty, but also shadow. That is why some felt drawn to you as if your presence brought them relief, while others resisted you, avoided you, even mocked you, because you awakened in them what they were trying to bury. Think about it. How many times have you walked into a space with humility, with no desire to stand out, and yet the atmosphere shifted instantly? A conversation that was flowing suddenly broke into silence. A group that was warm and open became distant and cold. This is not a coincidence. It is vibration. It is the signature of your soul colliding with energies that cannot remain asleep when you are near. For those who are ready for light, your presence feels like healing. But for those still attached to darkness, your presence feels like exposure. And because most people fear their own shadows, they direct that fear toward you. They label you strange, too intense, too sensitive. But none of these labels are true. They are defense mechanisms of souls not ready to awaken. And here is the truth: your very existence is disruptive. Not because you seek to be, but because you carry within you a frequency that destabilizes illusions. Systems built on lies tremble in your presence. Masks fall, pretenses crack. Environments of conformity resist you because you embody authenticity without even trying. This is why you've often wondered, why do people react this way to me? Why do doors close for no reason? Why do I feel excluded even when I haven't done anything wrong? It's because your light exposes what is hidden. Your sensitivity unsettles what is numb. Your soul reminds the world of what it desperately wants to forget. That there is more, that truth exists, that awakening is possible. And though this has caused you pain, misunderstanding, and loneliness, it is also your greatest confirmation. For no chosen one goes unnoticed. Heaven marked you, and the world cannot ignore what heaven has sealed. So the next time you feel rejected, the next time you sense discomfort in the air as soon as you arrive, remember this. Rejection is not proof that you are out of place. It is proof that your light is working exactly as it should. If your very presence carries a vibration that disturbs illusions and awakens memory, imagine what it means when that vibration is written into your very body. Because for many chosen ones, the confirmation of who they are is not only felt in the atmosphere, it is carved into their hands. The mysterious letter M and the crescent moon etched into the lines of the palm are not random shapes. They are not mere biological accidents. They are seals, spiritual signatures left by the Creator as living reminders of an origin that predates this world. You may have looked at them once and thought they were only coincidence, but deep down, something inside you always knew they were more. Throughout history, ancient cultures and spiritual masters recognized these marks as sacred. They knew that those who carried them were not ordinary. They carried codes, instructions for a mission, frequencies that would one day awaken and guide them back to their purpose. That is why when you see the M or the crescent moon in your hands, you are not just seeing lines of skin, you are seeing evidence of lineage, proof of inheritance, confirmation of divine design. These marks are not physical portals, but vibrational ones. They distinguish you from the common pattern of humanity. They indicate that you were not sent here simply to live and die unnoticed, but to break cycles of repetition, to stand as a bridge between dimensions, to carry messages the world has forgotten. And perhaps you have felt the weight of that responsibility. Perhaps you looked at your hands and wanted to deny it, to run from it, to dismiss it as imagination. But the seal remains. It does not fade. It is a constant whisper, a reminder that no matter how much the world tries to convince you that you are just another face in the crowd, heaven has already declared otherwise. The letter M and the crescent moon are living proof that your life is not random. They are signs that you were chosen to carry light in a system that thrives on darkness. They are maps, guiding you through seasons of confusion, reminding you that even when you feel lost, you are never truly without direction. And this is why the world reacts so strongly to you, because your presence alone unsettles illusions. And when combined with the visible seals of heaven marked on your hands, you become undeniable evidence that the system cannot control everyone. But if the Creator left such clear marks upon you, have you ever asked yourself why the world tried so hard to convince you they were meaningless? Why the system spent so much energy making you doubt yourself, ridiculing your sensitivity, attacking your authenticity? The answer leads us to the next revelation, the invisible strategy that has always worked against the chosen ones. If the Creator himself left signs in your hands, if your very presence already speaks louder than words, then it should not surprise you that the system has done everything in its power to make you doubt yourself. Because the greatest strategy of control has never been chains of iron, but chains of the mind. From childhood, the world around you began its work. Every time you showed authenticity, someone tried to silence it. Every time you dreamed higher, someone mocked it. Every time your light began to shine, someone labeled you too much, too sensitive, too unrealistic. These were not accidents. They were tactics. The system always knew who you were, even before you remembered. That is why life has sometimes felt like one attack after another. Not because you were cursed, but because you were recognized. Your very essence is a threat to structures built on conformity. You were never meant to be absorbed into the machine, and the machine knows it. That is why it has tried to condition you with fear, with ridicule, with pressure to become like everyone else. Think about it. How many times were you told to be more realistic? How many times did others laugh at your intuition, dismiss your visions, or label your depth as weakness? They weren't reacting to flaws in you. They were reacting to the power in you. Because your clarity, your questions, your authenticity, all of it disrupts a world that depends on illusions to survive. The system fears the awakened. It fears those who cannot be manipulated by appearances. And if you carry the mark of the Y, letter M, or the crescent moon in your hands, that fear multiplies. Because your existence itself is evidence that not everyone can be controlled. So when you remember all the times you were ridiculed, dismissed, or silenced, don't mistake it for rejection. Recognize it for what it truly was: confirmation. Proof that heaven has already approved you. Now let me ask you something. Chosen one, have you felt this constant resistance? The world trying to shrink you every time you stepped into your truth? Write yes in the comments if this has been your experience. Not for me, but as a declaration that you now understand. Every attack was proof of your mission. And if this is true, if the system has fought you so relentlessly, it reveals an even deeper mystery. The pain you carried wasn't only from being attacked, but also from the times you tried to fit in, forcing yourself into places that were never meant to hold you. And that is where our next revelation begins. If the system has always tried to shrink you, then you know the weight of its most dangerous trap, convincing you to silence your truth just to belong. Because at some point in your journey, you tried. You tried to walk like them, talk like them, think like them. You forced yourself into patterns that never matched your essence. You wore masks, played roles, and followed scripts that were never yours. And for a time, maybe it worked on the surface. Maybe you smiled in the right moments, spoke the expected words, even found temporary acceptance, but deep inside, something always screamed, "This is not me, this is not my life, this is not my path." That scream never left you because your soul refuses to be imprisoned by illusions. But living outside your truth comes at a high price. Every time you denied your essence, a part of your energy dimmed. Every time you betrayed your intuition, your body carried the weight. That is why so many chosen ones fall into exhaustion, depression, or spiritual sickness when they try to conform, because their energy was never designed to function in spaces of falsehood. Their codes were never meant to operate in environments of conformity. And maybe this is why you felt tired for reasons no doctor could explain. Maybe this is why your emotions swung between emptiness and intensity. Maybe this is why, even surrounded by people, you felt profoundly alone. Because loneliness is not just being without company. Loneliness is being without authenticity. And every time you forced yourself to adapt, you abandoned the very essence that makes you alive. This is why the system seemed to reward others while resisting you. They could blend in. You could not. They could trade authenticity for approval and still feel fine. You could not. Because for the chosen one, adaptation is not survival. It is self-destruction. And yet, here is the hidden gift inside the pain. Every tear, every collapse, every void you felt when trying to fit in was a message from your soul. It was warning you, this is not where you belong. Stop shrinking. Stop hiding. You were made to expand. That is why the discomfort never left you. It was never rejection. It was never failure. It was always guidance. The ache of not belonging is not proof that you are broken. It is proof that your essence refuses to betray itself. So do not curse the pain you felt while trying to fit in. Honor it, because it was that pain that led you back to the truth. You were never made to conform. You were made to transform. And this realization prepares the ground for the greatest revelation of all. If you were not created to fit in, then what exactly were you created for? That question opens the final chapter of this journey, the unveiling of your true purpose. If you were not created to fit in, then why were you sent here? That question has followed you through every season of your life. It burned inside you as a child, when you already sensed you were different. It whispered in your solitude, when no one seemed to understand you. It echoed through your failures, your heartbreaks, your deserts. And now, as the awakening unfolds, the answer becomes clear. You were not sent here to survive. You were not sent here to repeat routines, pay bills, follow the crowd, and live a small life until your days are over. You were sent here to remember who you are and to awaken others to the same truth. Your mission is not about fame, applause, or human recognition. It is about invisible impact that echoes eternally. It is about vibrating so deeply in authenticity that your very presence provokes healing, awakening, and transformation in the environments you walk into. Your purpose is to be a bridge between realms, a living reminder of the divine in a world that has forgotten its origin. This is why your path has been heavier, more intense, more painful than most. Every chosen one must be tested before they are released into their mission. Every soul carrying a divine assignment must walk through deserts before reaching the promised land. Your rejections, your wounds, your betrayals, none of them were punishments. They were training. They were the sharpening of your spirit, the preparation of your soul for the responsibility you now carry. And maybe your purpose will unfold through healing, guiding, teaching, creating, speaking, or writing. Or maybe it will unfold in quieter ways, through the power of your aligned presence, through the light you release simply by being who you are. But one thing is certain. If you have always felt that you don't belong here, it is because you were sent to transform here. The activation of your mission does not wait for perfect conditions. It does not begin when life is easy or when you feel completely ready. It begins the moment you declare, I accept. Because when a chosen one finally accepts their calling, heaven moves, the universe aligns, doors open, synchronicities appear, and your mission begins to manifest in ways you never thought possible. So now the question is no longer who am I or why don't I belong? The question is, will I accept the truth of who I am and live it fully? Because the time of waiting is over. The earth is hungry for your light. The world is desperate for the codes you carry, and you can no longer hide. This is the revelation. You were made not to conform, but to confront. Not to blend in, but to awaken. Not to be accepted, but to transform. And the proof has always been written in your soul, in your presence, even in the lines of your very hands. Chosen one, before we step into the conclusion, there is one more truth that must be spoken, because it is not enough to know who you are. It is not enough to recognize the signs in your hands, to remember the presence that unsettles, to see the purpose that burns in your spirit. What matters most is this. What happens when you keep running from it? Every chosen one reaches a crossroads. On one side lies the path of acceptance, the courage to step fully into their mission. On the other lies the path of denial, the attempt to live like everyone else, to bury the signs, to silence the voice within. And make no mistake, the cost of denial is heavy. When you betray your calling, something in you begins to die. Not the body at first, but the spirit. Your days blur into repetition. Your dreams grow quiet. A shadow of emptiness stretches across everything you do. You may succeed in the eyes of the world, money, recognition, even relationships, and yet every victory feels hollow, every achievement tastes like ash, because you cannot fill a divine void with earthly rewards, and the body knows. The body keeps the score of the spirit's betrayal. Illness, anxiety, fatigue, depression. These are not always random storms. Often, they are the cries of a soul suffocating inside a life it was never meant to live. How many chosen ones have found themselves restless at night, unable to sleep, because their spirit was shaking the cage of conformity they built for themselves? And yet, denial does more than wound you. It also delays the awakening of others, because your mission was never only about you. It was about the lives connected to yours, the people you were sent to impact, the light you were meant to release. When you hide, they remain in darkness. When you shrink, they remain asleep. The system wins, not by destroying you, but by convincing you to destroy yourself. That is why the discomfort you've carried never left you. Because heaven will not allow you to rest in the wrong place. The Creator will disturb your false peace again and again, until you remember, this is not my path. And the longer you resist, the heavier the cost becomes. So ask yourself with honesty, how many more years will you trade authenticity for approval? How many more seasons will you silence the truth to avoid discomfort? How much more of your life will you spend shrinking to fit into spaces that were never designed for your light? Chosen one, you must understand, the price of denying your calling is always higher than the pain of accepting it. The resistance may hurt, yes. The mission may demand sacrifice, yes. But nothing compares to the emptiness of a life unlived, a mission abandoned, a light hidden under fear. And this is why, as we now step into the conclusion, the choice must be clear. You can no longer run. You can no longer delay. You can no longer pretend. Your calling is echoing, your mission is waiting, and the only question left is, will you accept it? Chosen one, now that the journey has unfolded before your eyes, can you see how every fragment of your life was leading you here? From the presence that always unsettled others, to the sacred signs carved in your very hands. From the invisible war the system waged against you to the heavy pain of trying to fit in. From the revelation of your purpose to the unbearable cost of denying it. Everything has always been a map, a sequence of divine reminders guiding you back to the truth you could never escape. Your life has never been ordinary. That restless energy you carried since childhood, the stares you could not explain, the sudden collapses of relationships, the inner voice that would not be silenced, they were never random. They were evidence. Evidence that you were never designed to live anesthetized, repeating empty cycles like the rest. Evidence that you carry a frequency not born of this earth, a vibration sent from eternity to awaken, disrupt, and illuminate. Look back now with awakened eyes. The rejection you endured was never proof that you were broken. It was proof that your light was working. The system resisted you not because you were weak, but because you were strong enough to confront it simply by existing. The silence of abstinence, the longing for belonging, the discomfort of living outside your truth. None of it was wasted. Every battle was training. Every wound was preparation. Every tear was initiation. And now you stand at the threshold of remembrance. The signs are no longer hidden. The whispers are no longer subtle. The truth is no longer avoidable. You know who you are. You know why you never fit in. You know why your path was always heavier, harder, lonelier. Because you were never meant to blend in. You were meant to break open. Yes, chosen one. You are the exception, not the rule. The light, not the crowd. The awakening, not the sleep. That is why you carry the letter M or the crescent moon in your hands. They are not decorations of flesh. They are seals of heaven. They are your spiritual fingerprint, your eternal reminder that you were sent with a mission too sacred to be forgotten. And yet, the question remains, what will you do with this truth? Will you continue pretending, shrinking, denying? Or will you step boldly into the mission that has been waiting for you all along? Because the cost of denial is too high, and the world cannot afford your silence any longer. Your family, your community, even strangers you will never meet. They are waiting for the codes you carry, the light you release, the healing you embody. Do not underestimate your presence. Do not belittle your mission. Do not delay your awakening. For every time you dim yourself to fit in, the world loses the very gift heaven wrapped in your soul. But every time you stand in truth, you shake systems. You break illusions. You release awakening into environments that have forgotten the light. So here, now, at this very moment, make your declaration. If this message has spoken to the deepest parts of your being, if something inside you has burned with every word, then write in the comments, I accept my calling. Do not treat it as text on a screen. Treat it as a spiritual seal, a public declaration to the universe that you will no longer live hidden, that you will no longer run from what you are, that you will no longer trade authenticity for approval. And if you feel this truth belongs to you, if you know deep in your bones that you are part of this mission, then subscribe now. Not for the sake of numbers, not for vanity, but because this is a gathering place of souls like yours. A community of chosen ones who, like you, are awakening to what they carry. Together, your light multiplies. Together, your remembrance deepens. Together you become the army of souls the system fears most, the awakened. Chosen one, the time of waiting is over. The season of pretending has ended. You are not broken. You are not strange. You are not a mistake. You are a chosen vessel, sealed by heaven, forged in eternity, sent with a mission this world cannot comprehend, but will one day be forced to respect. Now walk in that truth. Speak with that truth. Breathe with that truth. Because when you finally accept who you are, heaven moves, the universe aligns, and the chains that once held you crumble to dust. You are not from here. You never were. And that is your greatest strength.